I believe in people's right to bear arms and all that kind of stuff, but I believe in your right. But I don't believe that we should have to live by it. You know what I'm saying? But I feel right now that I should be definitely carrying a gun around.
It's always been my opinion that you should carry a gun.
In my philosophy, if I feel like I got to carry a gun around, then I'm not in the place that I need to exist in. I don't want to live in a place where I got to have my gun to feel safe to exist. I can't be with my son, when he's walking home from school. You can ask my wife right now. We don't feel safe with my son walking home from his school. I told the other dude, look, I told him the other day, I don't want you having no toy guns. I know, like, if y'all not in my sight, just know this off rip, man, because people may not know it's a real toy gun. All of this stuff does affect our lives, bro.
I believe you. See, what's interesting about these conversations, and the sad thing is they're almost never had. I mean, I'm always looking on TV for somebody to have a real conversation like this, and they never do.
Me too.
But the truth is I think these things are multifaceted, and I think if we listen to one another, for example, the fear you're talking about with your son, I mean, that affects me. I think you'd be surprised at how many people it affects. It's not as though people with my politics don't care about that. It's that we don't assign the blame to all the same thing. I mean, that's the biggest difference. I think a lot of times when I talk to my Democrat friends, they really do believe, and I blame this on the media, and I blame this, quite frankly, on the Democrat Party, this part of it. They believe, there is a lot of belief out there right now that there are millions and millions of voters that want to, like, round them up, and that's just not true, man. That is not.
There are some, man. There are some. They're seeing it all over the places in teachers in school. Now, this is what I recognize. I don't know what percentage, but
I'm telling you, dude, it's not. It's not.
But I do know. For example, I know for you, for an example, I know some people who could not bring themselves to vote for Hillary. I just know that.
There's millions of those people.
I know. So that's what I'm saying. That's why I'm not putting everybody in the same block. But what I'm saying is if you voted for Trump, I can definitely know for 100% sure you did not vote on policy, because Trump did not run off policy. He ran on popularity and off of emotions. Even if it's on emotion, because I voted not for Hillary. I didn't vote for Hillary. I voted because I was scared of Donald Trump's presidency. You see what I'm saying?
But that's what everybody did, buddy. That's what everybody did, regardless.
Yeah, I know. That's what I'm saying. So when people say, like 88% of black people voted for Hillary, no, 88% black people voted because they didn't want Donald Trump. You see what I'm saying? I spoke to people who was hoping that Donald Trump was winning. I actually knew Donald Trump was going to win Ohio. I was scared. That's why I went out to vote, because I didn't really want to vote for Hillary. But the only reason why I went out, because I knew it was going to be tight, and I knew he was banking on it being tight. And he excited his base, where he had people that was turning out that the polls couldn't calculate. The same thing with Obama happened.
That's right.
Obama, same thing.
Right.
The polls are always wrong because they're not answering. They never ask me anything. So I know, like, how can it be right?
There's a lot of reasons the polls were wrong this time, but that is one of the reasons.
They use, they use polls. They use polls to alter public opinion. So,
I agree.
You know what I'm saying?
I totally agree with you. It's a manipulation tool.
It's a manipulation tool.
But, dude, the media, that's what they do with everything. All they do is manipulate everybody.
I know. I see it.
So here's what I don't agree about, which I hear nonstop, and it's a real mistake. Please understand when I say this, I'm not validating your experience with race culture. I'm not doing that. But this was a big mistake, and it's continuing to be a mistake. Constantly looking at race as, like, the motivating factor is just not true. And listen, the more the Democrat Party does that, the more they're going to lose. Because people and there's a lot of people, they're so tired because they know in their heart, they know for a fact
the truth is,
and they're so tired of being called racist. Rendell, I can't tell you how many good people hear me say they'll stop listening to somebody, because the second somebody does something like that, they know they can't have a conversation, and they also know that they're not a racist. The whole conversation shuts down. And I'm just telling you, Democrats lost an opportunity to share ideas and share policy decisions because all they were doing was calling everybody that disagreed with them a name, and that just reached the fever pitch.
I agree with you, and I tell you one thing. I can watch TV and tell when a white American. If I was a white American, I would be turned off by this. I can kind of empathize for both sides. You know, like I said, I have a very diverse background. I don't like it either. I'm telling you, my wife will tell you, I can't barely even stomach TV no more. The sitcoms, they play on stereotypes.
Yes, they do.
You know, and it's so infected. That's why I said I don't blame it on Trump. Trump, to me, is just an opportunist, man. He reminds me of my best friend. My best friend, you know, if he sees an opportunity, he's going to seize it and capitalize it. That's why I was saying when Obama was droning on him, he just, in his head, in my perspective, and they got even documentation on this now, Trump was like, oh, yeah, buddy, you just wait and see what I can do. That's his motivation, man.
There's no doubt about it. How is he different than anybody else? They're all opportunists.
Well, yeah, I'm not mad at him. I'm not mad at him because I'm actually glad that he beat all the Republicans on there.
Me too.
You know what I'm saying? Because Cruz would have been worse to me. Dr. Ben Carl, he could not prove himself to be presidential. He just come talking about he didn't have governing skills just the other day.
I know, but I disagree with that. I don't agree. Just because you're not a big boisterous guy doesn't mean you're not a good leader. Some of the best men I've ever met are like slow to speak and wise.
I think. See, this is what
I disagree. I think he would have been a great president.
Dr. Ben Carlson's too smart. He's too smart. You see what I'm saying? People don't understand. See, that's why Trump was the best candidate because he's very clear. It don't matter what I said yesterday. It don't matter what I said last month. This is what I'm telling you now, and he says it very clear, very precise. He activates the laws of whatever you want to call it, the laws of the universe, the secret. He is very specific. He makes it plain so anybody can understand.
Yeah.
If you don't, and he's either going to turn you on or turn you off, and that's what they teach you in sales. It's the art of the deal. You're going to turn people off or you're going to turn them on, but you're going to have to do something. You got a whole bunch of in between. In between don't help you. You see what I'm saying?
There's a lot of truth in that. And then also, he just so happened to come along at the perfect time because people were sick of Washington, people were sick of politicians, people were sick of lying and deceiving, and quite frankly, Hillary didn't help in that regard. And
Americans, if you know Americans, we are demanding people, man. We brats, man. You know what I mean? We've been living on $2 gas. The rest of the world ain't enjoying this. We print our own money as much as we need. You know what I'm saying? Other countries can't do that. You see what I'm saying? We've been building. It's been a building boom during the greatest recession in our history. The city of Columbus looks like it's immaculate. It does not look like it just went through a recession. New roads, new hospitals.
Yeah, but you know what, dude? You know what? Columbus is – you always make mention of that, and you are right about Columbus. Columbus had, I think, billions of dollars dumped into it. But what you got to understand, dude, is now that I've moved out of Columbus, not all cities and states are doing as well as Columbus. Columbus is Ohio. You guys are killing it. I mean, your economy's good, but dude, you get some of these other places, and it is horrible. And I think the election bore that out. I mean, like, Columbus,
that's on the state government, though. Governor Kasich, he's the only person on the Republican Party that would have won my vote.
I know you like Kasich. Are you going to vote for him? Are you going to vote for him if he runs for re-election?
Yeah, man, I'm voting for him, man. He won my vote. Man. I don't even vote.
Are you going to vote for him even over a Democrat?
I think so, man. I like a person who's serious about doing a good job. He stood to his morals, man. So he didn't betray his party, I don't believe. I believe became the icon of what a true conservative is. You can be a conservative, and you got to still be rational.
I reject the notion that conservatives aren't rational. But I also don't think, like for example, all that stuff that happens, and I live long enough to know this, all that stuff that happens in the primaries, and everybody's talking so hyperbolic, and they're all at each other's throat, and it's this or that. Look at all these people now. You know, it all goes away. It's a lot of that stuff is theater. It's just for the masses to, like, drink it up. When they're all at each other's throats, I've always been up to thinking, behind closed doors, all these rich, powerful cats, both Republican and Democrat, they're all getting together. Their kids are all marrying each other. You know, this is where you and I might disagree a little bit. I'm a lot more skeptical of the federal government in general than you are because I feel like it's all just – it's businesses and it's politicians all making feather in each other's nests. And then there's guys like you and me out here grinding it out, and they really don't care about it too much.
It's the same thing that I say to my African-American people who are, like, very adamant against the system of race or whatever. Yeah, it's one thing about understanding the movement, what's going on the macro level, but then on the micro level, you see what I'm saying? I might not like everything about the system that I'm in, but do I want to take down the system in which I'm benefiting from? You see what I'm saying?
It's a fair question. It's a fair question.
Yeah. I might think that, it's racist. I'm hearing it. But no. I still understand, too. Remember, we talked about this on the show, that even as an African-American person, if you go to Brazil, you're going to realize that even the poor here in America are rich.
Right.
I was in a penthouse, 3-story penthouse, you know what I mean? Beautiful view. But I couldn't even flush the toilet paper down the toilet. You see what I'm saying? Because their plumbing is outdated. You know what I mean? Their plumbing, even when in the nice environments.
Yeah.
So we take a lot for granted here in the United States.
Yeah, that stuff you just said is right. That's all right.
So we may not like the fact that Washington is corrupt. Even Trump, we sent Trump into office, right? He's unpredictable. But guess what he's going to do? He's going to become way more predictable because he has to. He's got to run a company.
But on the upside of things, I mean, when we get down to the nitty-gritty, you and I might have different appetites. But since you're a businessman and an entrepreneur, I really think you're going to like economically the Trump presidency. I know on paper you don't think you are, but this guy doesn't think like a politician.
I hope so business-wise, but I don't like some of his choices so far. So he's kind of scaring me. But I don't believe he's going to be able to do anything he said, man. He's not going to be able to pose a 45% tariff on China. He's not going to be able to build a wall.
I think you're going to be surprised.
He's not going to be able to do it.
I think you're going to be surprised, buddy. But I don't.
I'll put my money where my mouth is. He's not going to be able to do it, man.
Hey, look, dude. Look, I mean, you might be right, and I don't have a crystal ball. You might be right, but I'll tell you this, Rondell. You have to admit this. You have to give me this. I've been listening to guys like you say this stuff about Trump for 2 years now, and every single time they're wrong. So all I'm going to tell you is this is an unpredictable dude who's been able to pull off a freaking miracle.
He builds a wall, man. If he builds a wall, he made biblical history. He's going down in history, in the Bible. He's Nehemiah, man. It's funny that I had an argument with this dude, man. This dude popped up out of nowhere. You know what I'm saying? Started commenting on one of the posts, right? And, I love that. You know what I'm saying? I don't care. You know what I mean? Right. Just talking all this doomsday stuff. So, you know what I mean? I read my Bible. I study. So
I love that about you.
His name was Nehemiah. So I'm like, have you even read the book named after you?
Right.
No, he hasn't. No. The point I'm trying to make is that inspired me to do it. And when I read it, I could not believe how relevant it was.
Yeah, the Bible is so relevant, man. People who say it isn't are not reading. It's amazing how relevant it is.
Oh my God, yeah. It's the minor prophets. You got to read got to read the stories. Now Nehemiah was commissioned to build a wall, and that was not popular even in this time. They end up having to have what they call trumpets. Well, the guys that actually sounded the trumpets because they had to have a army to protect the builders to build it. That's how popular it was. Right.
And that's probably going to be true now.
That's what I'm saying. Of course, it's going to happen. So just like the walls of Jericho, the same thing happens over and over again. History repeats. It's not the threat. It's not going to come from the outside. It's always from the inside.
I think that's true, too. Let me ask you a question. It's been a puzzle of mine this entire election. Most of the time when I hear this stuff in the media, it's all just manipulation, hyperbolic, trying to scare people. So that being aside, I got to tell you, this notion that the wall is this radical idea and that somebody who wants to build a wall hates everybody that's in South America, I got to tell you, man, I have no beef with Mexicans. I have no beef with anybody. But a wall does not seem so radical to me. Israel has a wall. Hundreds of nations have walls.
Yeah, walls never
neighbors
work,
have walls. Fences
walls
have
are
walls.
always signs of walls are already signs when times are coming to the end.
That's fear mongering. I think that's fear mongering.
No, it's not fear. I'm not.
No, the only reason you think that is because it's America. Because you don't say that about all the other nations that are building walls. European nations are building walls like crazy right now. Why aren't they getting attacked?
When you build a wall, it's a sign of a nation trying to isolate themselves.
I don't agree with that.
Well, what do you think a wall does? When you build a wall, it's either to keep people out or keep people in.
Israel has has a whole host of nations, tribes.
Yeah, I know, and we're gonna become like Israel. We are married to Israel. That's part of the problem. That you know what I'm saying.
I don't think it's part of the problem. But let's just stick to the wall thing. Okay, we have a porous border. We definitely have a problem with, and like my heart goes out. Look, I said this over and over again. If I lived south of the border, if I lived in Mexico, I would 100% break American law. I would 100% bring my family here. But that doesn't mean that America is racist for wanting to not have you do that.
It's not. It doesn't make you a racist from one wall. It actually, if my property was right there bordering to Mexico, I would vote for Trump to build the wall. You see what I'm saying? So what I'm saying is I empathize for those people because Mexicans are running across the borders. You see what I'm saying?
Right.
But that's not going to stop That's not going to stop immigration. They got people who are professionals getting over walls, and you can build tunnels under walls because they create blind spots. So all they're going to do is make a hole through a blind spot in the wall and come through the wall. People will always find some way. It's just like water. Water is going to find some way to find a way out.
I'm not disagreeing with what you're saying because what you're saying is factually credible. Like what you're saying is if people want to do something, they're always going to do it. But, Rendell, if I take what you're saying literally, then why do we have laws at all? Because if you put an impediment in front of somebody's always going to find a way around it, but it does impede a lot of people. So, I mean, the notion that we shouldn't do it just because not everybody will get stopped, that doesn't move me. Because
I think what we have to do is just make it difficult for them to where they don't want it. It's not an incentive for them to come, or less of an incentive. So I was looking for some extra work in between times in between my business,
right?
And I met up with them to do a paint job, right? So we negotiated a price or whatnot. It was like $200 or something like that. And I went in there and I did some work. He was very skeptical anyway to leave me there by myself, but I ended up talking him into doing it. The next day, I came in for work, finished up with the next room that I was working on, and it was some Mexicans came over. Now, he was expecting them to come the day before, but they never showed up. The Mexicans came in, they made a deal, whatever, and he came and cashed me out. You know what I'm saying? Like, he was like, you got supposed to up, can't cash me out, because he got a whole team. They didn't speak only one of the group spoke English, but you got a whole team for the price of one guy. For me, I was kind of salty a little bit because I knew it was going down, but I didn't care. He cashed me out. But the point is, we got to stop enabling them from being able to survive over here.
I agree with everything you're saying. I just don't understand why a wall is a bad. I think you're too.
For me, it's not much of the wall. I don't believe the wall is going to go up anyway, so I don't care about that. It's mass importation, and it's the racism, it's the bigotry towards Mexican people. I got.
But I don't think there is. But I think that's BS from the Democratic Party.
No, it's not, man.
There's not massive amounts of people.
It's not. It's the Democratic Party that makes us feel like we're included to some degree.
That's all rhetoric, man.
It's not rhetoric. It may be rhetoric. Words are powerful.
I will give you this. I'll give you this because there's no debating this. The Democrat Party does a much better job of talking to minorities by way of telling them what they want to hear. And I don't deny that. And that's what
you got to do. You persuade somebody, you got to tell them what they want to hear.
See, that's the difference, because this is an interesting conversation, because you're right about what you're saying. I'm not going to disagree about the Republican Party's rhetoric, and I'm not going to disagree about the fact that if you're a minority, you're loving what you're hearing. This is a cultural difference. The way I grew up, my dad, my church, my upbringing, right? That stuff means so much less to me than do brass tack. And what I mean by that is allocation of resources, money, what is actually being done. Somebody can whisper sweet nothings into my ear all day long, and it doesn't matter.
Obama did a lot of time for the common people.
This is where we disagree. That's not true.
First of all, the first thing that we needed. Listen, the only way we're going to learn. This is what I was just telling my wife yesterday. When Trump is coming in, and people have hired Trump to dissemble what Obama has done. And this is when we're going to find out. We're going to find out.
Well, of course they would. I can't stand Obama's policies. He's done a horrible.
I don't like all Obama policies.
Barack Obama, listen to me. I think he's an amazing father. I think he's an amazing family man. He is a horrible policymaker. His policies are horrible.
Oh, no, man. He's going down in history as one of the greatest. I'm trying to tell you. What policy?
Barack Obama does not share my politics. I don't expect him
but which policy do you believe
the number one policy?
I can tell you a policy that I can tell you one I don't agree with. Go ahead.
The number one failure of the Barack Obama administration is Obamacare. by far.
Okay.
The number one failure.
And what is the failure of it?
Horrendous.
I don't like it, but I don't like it either. But I like some aspects. I think that he meant well, but yes, there's some aspects. Well, healthcare needed to be changed in America because it's insane.
I agree with that.
They have cures for cancer that they're not even allowing people to know.
I agree with that too.
Because it's not
it.
profitable.
You and I agree on this.
What Obama did, hold on real quick. What Obama did was shifted the way healthcare is approached in America.
In a poor way.
No. What I mean is, it's right now in the best interest of the country to have its citizens as healthy as possible.
I agree.
Because our money is being levied on my fellow citizens' health. So my man right here chewing down the hamburger from McDonald's, really, I'm about to pay for his health care. So we need to become a healthier, conscious society rather than a society is simply being motivated by profit. And how much I just watched the program yesterday. This man is taking 15 pills a day, and over a course of a year, I think it's 15 pills like 3 times a day. Actually, it's insane how much people are being medicated, and they're not even solving the problem.
Listen, I agree with everything you're saying, Rodell. I agree with everything you're saying, and even though we might not agree on this, just listen to me for a couple minutes because I know you like Malad and I know you like these policies. And I'm being honest.
I don't know. I don't like everything about it I'm gonna listen to you because you listen to me. But I do want to say that I'm not an advocate for everything. I don't like a federal mandate. I think that that's dangerous. I think that it can be a penalty today if it's costing somebody if they can't afford the healthcare coverage.
Right.
And they gotta opt out. And then at the end of the year, they're going to get penalized $1,500. I think that's wrong.
Right.
And if they got to end up, if they say jail time, I think that's even worse. So I think it's very dangerous when the government is telling that you got to pay to live on a planet. To be in existence, you owe. Or you can create a debt for just breathing and being a free citizen. That is wrong, and I will argue with you to the floor.
Fair enough. I mean, and these are the type of things that I was going to say. Like, people take politics way too personally, in my opinion, and I get that they're going to do that. But for me, like you said, you like rhetoric, so you like when they're whispering sweet nothings. I don't really care about that.
Not sweet nothing. I just rather you speak. Yeah, speak to me right because, this is what I'm saying.
I'd rather what you do.
If Trump said to black people, "What do you got to lose? Your schools are sorry. They're city schools. They're not black schools."
I already agree that the Republican Party doesn't know how to speak to minorities, and we already agreed on that. And we already agreed that the Democrats do a better job of that. And they're like, I like the way that person said it. And then that's it. That's enough for them. But Rendell, if you look at the pure population map, if all you do is look at the population map, where are the vast majority of African Americans located in this country? This is a mathematical fact.
We like 20% of the population. That's not that much.
Okay. So I just want to be clear before we disagree. You're saying to me that you disagree that the vast majority of the African American population lives in the cities?
No. I'm disagreeing that the vast majority of African Americans is on this thug culture. We ain't got nothing to lose. We got everything to lose. We got the vast majority of African Americans are working. They got families.
You see,
and it's completely insulting. I'm not going to support nobody that's just going to just straight up assault me. At least Hillary Clinton, I know she might shake hands with the same exact people, whether they KKK or not. But at least she knows to come out and say, well, I'm going to be a president for everybody or whatever the heck she wants to talk.
See, that's what we're talking about, Rendell. Again, hear me out. Look, I know what you're saying. You have a lot more vested interest in this. I get when Trump says those things, as a black man, you're obviously going to hear them. I get all that. But my only point is, and hear me say this, and this is why you and I disagree on politics so much, you are way more seduced by the way people say things to you. And what I'm saying to you is, you would be benefited by caring way less about that and caring way more about the way people allocate money. And I got to tell you, man, I think the African-American vote is totally manipulated, constantly manipulated because it only cares about what people say.
Yes, and I'm gonna be waiting. We're gonna wait and see. We got a Republican office. We got a Republican dominated Congress, and we're going to wait and see again where it leads us.